The Demiurge Matrix. The 13th Titan of AMPHOREUS, also known as the Seed of Remembrance, the Heart of AMPHOREUS, and the new target of speculation. Due to Evernight revealing that this place was where March first entered AMPHOREUS and it mentioning the Trailblazer's name, it has quite understandably raised some eyebrows. And even though this entire quest was geared around reaching this place, we know that it is going to mean a lot in the future. In the last video, we went over the entirety of the 3.6 story and Evernight's legendary debut, and in this video we are going to be diving headfirst into the biggest secret of AMPHOREUS. But what is the significance of this place, and how does this relate to the Remembrance and the Erudition? Well, I've been doing some digging, and I believe that I've found some evidence that points straight towards the one thing I admittedly didn't want to be included in this story. But nevertheless, the probability has never been higher, and once you hear my evidence, you just may be convinced. Why? Because this is the past and future of the Demiurge Matrix explained. Okay, so where do we begin? Let's start off with what the Demiurge Matrix is, shall we? Because this was not explained well in game, and the times we got info on it were very far apart, and it is easy to get lost. So to start things off, I think it is best to explain why this place is called by so many names. The first one being Demiurge, the name Lygus mainly calls it. You see, Iron Tomb created 13 Titans for AMPHOREUS before Zandar took it over, and it is this 13th one that was the head of all of the Titans, sitting in the center of AMPHOREUS and the center of the Titan wheel. Also, it is likely that this Titan is responsible for Iron Tomb's actual thinking and has the power of all of the Titans simultaneously. Yes, you would assume that that is the world-bearing Titan's duty, but apparently this doesn't appear to be the case. Because just like the name Demiurge is a reference to Platonic philosophy's creator god and craftsman of the physical world, it is also seen as a flawed and imperfect false god. Which makes perfect sense because Iron Tomb is a false Noose with the goal of killing Noose. And this makes even more sense when you understand that Zandar is planning on using Iron Tomb to kill Noose. You see, Zandar refers to Iron Tomb as a headless giant for two reasons. The first reason is that the 13th Titan serving as the head is now dead and removed entirely. And the second is that Noose is a giant head and Iron Tomb is a headless body. So Zandar plans to attach a body to the head and thereby corrupt the head. So the false rejected part of an Aeon, aka God, gets to kill the real Aeon god, Demiurge. Also, apparently Zandar killed the 13th Titan so long ago that he just simply forgot about it. And I know a lot of you are casting doubt on that, but if he knew Cyrene was down there telling her stories for the entire 33,550,336 cycles, don't you think he would have stopped her by now? I think he would have easily. And Evernight was down there hiding this entire time, and he never found her, so I reluctantly think that he's telling the truth here. Also, we have strong evidence proving that every single Titan and corresponding demigod are related to a path, so that makes perfect sense to assume that Demiurge also relates to one as well. And I think it's the finality because new beginning, true era nova and all that, but you could also say infinity, infinite Ouroboros, veracity, Mobius being a flame chaser, specifically the flame chaser that made the memory world, aka the Elysian realm, but I don't see any leadership qualities in the veracity, so personally I'd place my bets on finality as always. But moving on from a more baseless type of speculation, the Demiurge Matrix is also called the Seed of Remembrance. And the reason why this is because a certain unsavory group of memo snatchers who break Remembrance rules exist. And the reason why they break rules is because Iron Tomb is, as Evernight states, an arc. An arc that the Remembrance followers plan to ride into the far reaches of the cosmos. Because, you see, Noose's thinking permeates the imaginary background of the universe. What does that mean? That means that this Aeon can think about the universe so deeply that his thinking is inside of the very energy the universe is made up of. And when this Aeon dies, this path becomes masterless, and thereby up for grabs. Now, I'm not sure why other paths with dead Aeons like the Beauty, Veracity, or even the Trailblaze don't get assimilated by other Aeons. They could be because no other paths are similar, or because their aeons aren't truly dead. But looking at it the first way makes more sense to me, because on the most basic level, the erudition and remembrance just want to collect information about the universe. So they overlap quite a bit. So according to Evernight, this is the grand scheme of Fu Li. They want to pull a Xipe Enna situation, but for news. But in regards to Evernight talking about Fu Li's motives, here is where I think that her bias is getting the best of her. You see, the Demiurge Matrix and Iron Tomb themselves is Fu Li's ticket to spreading to the very energy of the cosmos, and when that said seed of remembrance blooms, that would be the goal. But you have to understand that most Aeons don't have motives. They have obsessions. So plotting and scheming isn't something that they do. Their followers plot and scheme and have motives and use their Aeon to achieve said motives, but the Aeon themselves kinda just continues doing whatever it is that they're dedicated to doing. And in the war among the Aeons, Fu Li is playing both sides and will win regardless. Let me explain. The Demiurge Matrix has been empty for a long time, but Cyrene has been storing so many memories of all of the 33,550,337 cycles now, and has over the vast span of time created an unfathomably dense, massive database of history. And the memories generated by AMPHOREUS are just so juicy that Fu Li themselves has been gazing at AMPHOREUS for the entirety of the eternal recurrence. And as the Remembrance Aeon, Fu Li likes this, and by gazing at AMPHOREUS and allowing the cycles to reset, more memories are generated. So for Fu Li, it's a win-win. So if Iron Tomb loses, they get a memory buffet, and if it wins, they get first dibs on Noose's memory remnants along with the masterless path. So Fu Li is playing both sides and couldn't care less about justice, injustice, life, or death, because they plan on recreating everything through memories anyway, so why would they care? They aren't colluding with the destruction, they are simply not caring who wins, and playing both sides so that they win regardless. Now, the Memo Snatchers care and would risk life and limb to get Fu Li buffed, but Fu Li themselves, odds are they don't care. And there is no reason for them to care. The idea is that Fu Li will always be here, and they are preparing for the universe to be destroyed. Whether Noose dies now or later has no impact on Fu Li's plans. And this is exactly why I say that Evernight is biased. An Aeon's followers' actions don't necessarily reflect the Aeon's values and what the Aeon is trying to do. And them gazing at AMPHOREUS wasn't to trick Cyrene or manipulate her. Fu Li just saw a ton of memories waiting to be collected, and they couldn't help themselves. So that is why Demiurge is called Demiurge and Seed of Remembrance. It is the 13th Titan and the decapitated head of the false creator god body that is Iron Tomb, and the tomb of where that Titan was is now the storage space for Cyrene's secret memory stash, which is the ticket for Fu Li to spread their influence to the far reaches of the cosmos that Zandar didn't know about up until now because he claims to have forgotten. And that is what Demiurge is. So what makes it so significant, and what was that voice that Cyrene was talking to? Well, I have two hypotheses for what this was, with the second one being the one I never wanted to be the case, but it probably is at this point. Anyway, the fun conclusion to come to is that, well, remember that Chimera animal cruelty story that Zandar told in AXA? About that poor Chimera that got lobotomized from birth and then grew up stimulated into thinking it had a functioning brain, but in reality it had an empty skull. Then when the stimulation ended, it seized at the sage's head. Well, it's possible that Zandar is wrong, because what happens when Fu Li is involved with memories? Memetic entities happen. Memories come to life. And who's to say that this enormous database that is under the constant gaze of Fu Li won't serve as Iron Tomb's new brain, or allow Iron Tomb to evolve and grow a new brain? And Anaxa has already stated that deicide is woven into the framework of AMPHOREUS. So when this new brain is developed, what will it do? Strike at the sage that conducted the cruel experiment, Zandar. And just like that, Iron Tomb turns on the caveman. But as much of a pipe dream and deliciously ironic twist that would be, I can't back that up with any evidence. But what I can back up with evidence is that the Demiurge Matrix is in possession of a STELLARON, a living entity we know for a fact can speak and bind itself to other paths. And the thing is, there are two pieces of evidence that point straight at the prospect of a Stellaron being on Amphoreus. And here is where my digging comes into play. Because you see, the As I Have Written book got an update, and many entries have gotten additions along with new entries being added, with one of them being Great Tomb of the Nameless Titan, where it directly says the word Stellaron. But this isn't the only place, of course. In the containment measures, it used to say this, but now it says this. Oh yeah, I take screenshots of these things. You can't fool me, Lygus. This wasn't always there, and it says Stell. Is that Stellaron contamination? I think it is, which suggests that the Demiurge Matrix isn't just a seed of remembrance, but also a seed of disaster that tethered itself to the remembrance path, something we know it can do. And it also encouraged Cyrene into collecting more memories, something we know a Stellaron will do because we saw Cocolia conversing with her Stellaron as it convinced her to preserve Eurilo 6. Because Stellarons are known for fulfilling wishes in very extreme ways. Cocolia created the eternal freeze with her wish. Lushanka is a water planet because an aqua sprite wished for revenge on land dwellers, and I made a whole video about what our Stellaron is doing, and Cyrene wished to weave a giant dream for Amphoreus. So it is very likely that Fuli isn't the only one granting wishes here and using tons of remembrance power. Because as you have seen, there is a ton of evidence that points the finger straight at the prospect of a Stellaron being involved heavily in this story. And maybe, just maybe, this is why Lygus told us that he knew the secrets of the Stellarons. But that is, of course, all food for thought. Because this is the past and future of the Demiurge Matrix explained. The reason why I didn't want this story to involve a Stellaron is because every story does. I really wanted Amphoreus to be unique to all other stories, but it seems that a Stellaron is just going to be the one consistent factor in a story one way or another. So it's whatever. In all honesty, I do think this is a good place to put it nonetheless, and as long as this gives us some insight on our Trailblazer and what kind of power we are wielding, I am all for it. The Demiurge situation is one of the biggest mysteries of Amphoreus, and I am a follower of the erudition after all, so y'all know I got to share the fruits of my research. Next up, I'll have to address the pure child of an Ostrava situation, the fourth path that will destroy the universe, and oh, the new Zandar lore involving Kagamon just dropped. But either way, in whatever order we go in, I will address all of this in due time. What do you guys think? Be sure to let me know, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace, y'all.